Welcome back to Thundersport GB on the Brands Hatch Indy Circuit. It is the BSN Superstock 600s. They're up next. Steve's down on the grid.
Number 11 here, Tommy Mountain on pole position for the Bike Sport News Superstock 600 Championship. He's third place at the moment, but he's racking up these wins and is looking very dangerous. We've obviously got Ross Ashman and Paul Wishart second in the championship, also on the front row, but Nick Anderson leads by 27 points. And before the start of this race, we caught up with him in the garage to see if he's getting any pre-race nerves. Nick, a tight championship, 27 points between yourself and Paul Wishart. It was a clever ride yesterday. You didn't push too hard, but you still got enough for 20 points.
No, that's right. I mean, I knew what I had to do. I set myself a target before I went out, and that was to just finish consistently in the points. I was more than happy to get a front row start ready for the race today. And second was what I wanted to do. So, yeah, we achieved what we set out today.
Must be very difficult, though, at this stage, because you want to gamble for the wins, but at the same time, you don't want to be throwing it down the road.
I know, it's sort of, you have to think everything through at this stage of the season. I mean, everything's close, and there's a lot of top riders out there. So, yeah, like I said, just got to think about every little thing and hope that it pays off.
And not just Paul Wishart, you have to also keep an eye out for the likes of Tom Meehan and Tommy Mountain, because they can still effectively win the championship.
I know, it's not over. It's not over at all by any means. I mean, Tommy Mountain's been on fire this weekend, so it'll be our job to keep up in the next race, but we'll see what happens. Well,
good luck to you, Nick, and we'll look out for you in the next one.
Thanks very much.
Well, tension palpable at this time of the year, and they're lining up, of course, after the Super Bowl race result, but should mention that in the wet qualifying, the fastest out there was Matt Showcock, an excellent pole for him. He's on the second row, look at that, getting a little adjacent they are as they run into Paddock Bend for the first time, but it's the Cool Cow Yamaha, the yellow outfit there of Tommy Mountain, gets away best.
Oh yes, and in second position there, just getting edged out is Nick Anderson, championship leader. That's because Paul Wishart, the Scotsman, MW1 Motorcycles there, he's moved up into second position. Then it's Ross Ashman and Tom Meehan.
Ross Ashman's been having an absolutely splendid weekend. I think this is possibly the best race weekend we've ever seen him have. He's been riding consistently quickly, consistently well, and he's towards the front end of things, just ahead of me and there, as this field just screams through on the Brabham Straight, but up the front, it's one of the youngsters, Tommy Mountain, that heads it at the moment.
Paul Wishart then in second position. Hadn't seen any of these circuits on the Thundersport calendar before the start of this year, so he's done remarkably well to be where he is, but Mountain is looked the man to beat all weekend. Nick Anderson, championship leader there in third, Ashman fourth, Meehan in fifth. There's Sam Ludgate.
This is extraordinary, isn't it? Tommy Mountain did not have the best of weekends at the last rounds at Pembrey down in southwest Wales, but here at Brands he has been, well, if not unbeatable. Of course, that's absurd. Nobody's unbeatable, but he looks as though he owns the place. He just look at the margin. I know it's not a lot, but these competitors are so closely matched, and they're all so quick. We've got at least half a dozen race winners out there in this series already, and Tommy's at the front of them.
Yeah, Ross Ashman, the sole Kawasaki in the top 4 or 5. The rest all Yamahas, but there's Mountain that leads, and he's coming under pressure here from Paul Wishart. Nick Anderson and Ross Ashman also closing in. There's Ludgate still in 5th position, but Mountain really is, he loves leading from the front. There's Wishart, Anderson, and Ashman. Ashman, of course, a former 125 GP rider who really has got to grips with that Kawasaki and has been causing all sorts of problems. Further back, there's Scott Adams. Scott's a regular runner in our Super Twins class, has decided to switch over to a Superstock 600 bike. So, well, he's certainly got his work cut out there. These youngsters really are hot in this class. There's Tom Meehan.
There's another couple of riders to look out for. Aaron Hay, who for so long was leading the GP3 Championship on his 125. He's out in 600 as well, as is Kyle Wilkes, who is one of the real youngsters, and Jim Lovell, who we saw not that long ago on Bridgestone Thundersport 500. So all sorts of riders gravitating to the series. Sorry, Steve.
Where has Nick Anderson gone? Nick Anderson is gone AWOL. The championship leader didn't come round on that last lap. There he is.
Oh, Nick.
Oh, no, that's a real shame. 27 points was his lead. And all he can hope for now is that Paul Wishart here in second doesn't win it, because that would really close things up. That's just what Nick Anderson did not need.
No, he's parked it up over there at the top of Clearways, and Tom Meehan now just elevated at one position in fourth place. But up the front, the Scots rider Paul Wishart is right on the case of Tommy Mountain, and Tommy would love to ride away at the front of this, but Paul giving him absolutely no peace whatsoever. Now, I reckon this time, yes, as they come up through McLaren, that's probably the first time they're aware of the fact that Nick Anderson is no longer in this race.
Yeah, now that leaves somewhat of a predicament on Paul Wishart's hands now, because yes, he wants to win, but 20 points to take out of a 27-point lead is a lot. Having said that, he's a racer, and he's going to prove me wrong here by going up the inside. No, he's not. Tommy Mountain closes the door into Druid.
I think, of course, Steve, I suppose it is by the opposite that you know how true it is. That frankly, at this stage of the season, it's actually staying on board the bike, which is the most important thing. A DNF is rubbish if you're going for a championship.
Scott Adam there having a look to try and go past John Blundell. All sorts of riders going through there. There was Matt Shelcock, Dan Chappell there, and Richie Thornton.
Tommy Mountain getting into a little bit of traffic. Paul Wishart is still in his case as they exit Druids. And Paul Wishart, well, he's popped in. Tommy Mountain's had the fastest race lap a couple of times, and Paul Wishart has 2 or 3 times as well. So it's even Stevens at the front, and you fancy it's all about how they're going to find and file their way through the traffic. Always slightly more difficult if you're the leader, Steve.
Yeah, Tommy won't be liking this. He'll know it from his pit board that Paul is right on his tail, but he's doing a good job so far. There's Matt Shelcock, as you mentioned earlier, took pole in the qualifying in the wet, and unfortunately in the dry just fell back a little bit. There's Dan Chappell, another rider that's been on the front row this year. Yes, Dan's put in some excellent performances, but it's at the moment at the front of this all about Tommy Mountain and Paul Wishart. It's, well, you feel you'd be daft to say which one would definitely be the winner. That just doesn't happen. But Ross Ashman having another excellent ride in third place at the moment. Michael Cooper doing very well on his Triumph 675. He's up in 5th position. We haven't seen sights of Tom Meehan and Ross Ashman just ahead of him yet, but a little bit further back. That's Sam Thompson, a former Super Teen rider. Rider doing well, and he's certainly well up inside the top 10 is Neil Gregory. Yes, Neil, a former GP1 runner. He's been doing some Manx TTs and the Isle of Man TT stuff. He's moved on to a Trick Bits 600 machine this season, and he's loving it out there. There's Nicole McAleer. There's just a young female rider as they come up on the last lap. She's just about to be overtaken by Tommy Mountain. This is the last lap then, and he's broken away from Paul Wishart. Yeah, through the traffic. He's twice now got the better of that situation, the lapping situation, and just, oh goodness me, what a stoppie. That could have been deeply unpleasant, Steve. Who is that? That's Aaron Hay, Robin, and he just missed the back of Matt Shelcock. That's deep stuff there as well. That'll be tricky to get out. Yeah, he's going to keep trying though, as Tommy Mountain will keep trying at the front. The Cool Cow Yamaha onto the Brabham straight, and he's got a few more bike lengths over Paul Wishart, courtesy of he's lapping through the traffic, which I have to say has been immaculate, and that is a very special win for Tommy Mountain. Paul Wishart gets up and across to finish second, and well, I suppose in terms of championship, it's the man who's not there that you notice most. Tommy Mountain takes the win, Paul Wishart second, Ross Ashman third, Tom Meehan fourth, Michael Cooper fifth, Matt Shelcock sixth, but nothing for Nick Anderson. Big smile from Tommy Mountain, Paul Wishart and Ross Ashman though.
Winner of the BSN Superstock 600 race, Tommy Mountain. We never like to see other riders going down, but championship leader going down really does make things interesting in the points, but a great race by yourself there.
Yeah, it does make it interesting in points. Obviously, after missing 2 rounds, we didn't think we'd be sort of up here this year with the championship, but at the moment it's working out all right. I'm not going to say anything to jinx the end of my season, but there's more races to come and see how we get on.
You're obviously just looking to get out there and gap the rest of the field. That's the plan.
Yeah, I mean, to try and push from the start on the word go is my plan. If not, I'd probably maybe stay behind him and see if I can just do a last lap lunge on him and see how it works out.
Well, well done to you, mate, and you must have people to thank.
I've loads of people to thank. I've got Cool Cow, for Julie Bruntley and John Thorns, big thanks to them. I mean, without them, I wouldn't be here today. And Tony Rowe from A Rowe Property Maintenance and Andy Stubbs, the main man who's helped me out this weekend, and obviously for my dad.
Well done to you, and good luck for the next one.
Thank you very much.